So as we look at the relationship between these things, we get a great skillful means in how to meditate, in how to gain these deep, still states of mind. Because whatever we're experiencing at any stage of the meditation, wholesome or unwholesome, the way to go further and deeper is actually to look not as the object, but look at the way we look at it. And if one is practicing well in the meditation, one say has got the breath in mind, how do you regard that breath? When the breath starts to remain in your mind, is it the case you feel satisfied, you feel happy, you feel, aren't I great? If you have that degree of pride and conceit in what you're doing, of course you can never go further. You're creating unwholesome karma. You're regarding what was created by wholesomeness in an unwholesome way. And no way can that meditation develop further. So you have to keep on creating the causes for deeper and deeper peace and deeper stability. And so always look at the causes. How are you doing your meditation? It's not so much what you're doing or what you've experienced, but how are you regarding this? And are you continuing it in such a way as to create wholesome causes all along the path? And if you're watching the breath and you're just at peace with that breath, you don't expect anything more because you don't have any wanting, that you are satisfied with the breath in the sense you're not trying to find fault with it, and it's comfortable because you're not trying to see all the things wrong with this breath. You make peace with it. You have an armistice with your breath. You just watch it, leaving it alone, giving your attention completely, fully to the breath, expecting nothing back in return. This beautiful thing in Buddhism which we call dana, pure dana, where you give expecting nothing back, no praise, no gifts, no name in headlines. You just give to the moment. You give to the breath. You just give to your meditation. It's a wholesome attitude, and that's why it works. You have loving kindness. You accept the breath as it is. The door of my heart is open to you, breath, no matter what you do, no matter how you feel. I embrace you. That's a wholesome way of regarding what you're experiencing. And as you regard what you're experiencing in this wholesome way, the objects get more and more refined, more and more peaceful. They're leading you deeper on the path into jhanas, and they're showing you the way to nibbana. And when that breath becomes very beautiful, if you regard that beautiful breath with excitement or fear, you can know that those are unwholesome ways of regarding things. If you regard them with, again, pride, it's great, I'm getting into the beautiful breath now, it will never go further. Very often the coarseness of the way we regard a beautiful breath sometimes is so gross that it destroys this very, very subtle and high state called the beautiful breath. So if a beautiful breath ever does come into your mind, take a little time to notice what one is doing with it, how one is regarding it, how one is making use of it, and make sure that that relationship between the knower and this beautiful breath is still in accordance with the Buddha's teachings. It is still pure and wholesome, and you're not allowing new bad karma which takes the form of hindrances or conceit or whatever, control, fault finding or whatever, to actually impinge and destroy the whole process which you've set in motion. Once that beautiful breath becomes soft, if a nimitta comes up, it's really, really important at that time to make sure the way the knower looks at the known is very, very still. I've mentioned to you many, many times that when a nimitta comes up, that is a reflection of your mind. So if your mind starts to move in unwholesome ways, so does a nimitta. It moves also in unwholesome ways. It's a reflection And this is the clearest way, or the clearest time probably, you can actually check to see what your mind's up to. The beautiful nimitta which comes up, again, is the vipaka of all the purity which you've done. Not just in your meditation, but in your lifestyle, in just how you eat your food, how you do your duties in the monastery, how you bow to the senior monk or to the Buddha, and just your gentleness around the other people in this monastery, whether they're guests or whether they're residents. That pure-heartedness is a great cause for the beautiful nimitta. But not just that, it's what you've been doing in the meditation as well. What you've been doing in the last half hour or 1 hour. And sometimes it's just so sad that we've done so much good work, so much purity, so much letting go, so much acceptance, so much making peace with the moment, so much good relationship between the knower and the known. And we've got into this beautiful state of letting go, and then we forget. We want to control. We want to sort of expect something more. We want to make. We want to build. When that sort of thing happens, we're creating bad karma, bad mental karma. It's unwholesome. It's not letting go. It's not being at peace with things. It's not liberating things. It's not being content. The way you're regarding it is the problem. So part of mindfulness always has to look at that. The way the mind regards those objects which it has to deal with. And when you see that that is the main source of the development of peace and even the development of jhanas, one sees that that's the way to develop happiness in one's monastic life, to free oneself from suffering. It's not what one has to deal with is the problem. It's not the objects of your life. It's the way you regard those objects. It doesn't matter if you're healthy or sick. It doesn't matter if you're the abbot or just the lowest anagarika. It doesn't matter the objects, it's how you deal with them. Your relationship from the knower to what you have to experience, the known. That's the problem. It doesn't really matter whether you're on retreat or you're working in the kitchen. It's how you regard that duty. So when you have to do duties of being on retreat or working in the kitchen, check on how you regard that object of consciousness called work or called retreat. When you're on retreat or working, are you relating to that with wholesome karma? Or are you relating that with unwholesome karma? When you're on retreat, you try and sort of squeeze out as much time as possible. And when you're working, you try and get it over with so you don't have to do anything else. How are you regarding what you're doing? And if you look at that, sometimes you can see just how it's very, very unskillful. And you can understand why the path doesn't work at those times. If you're on retreat, you have to be peaceful. If you're expecting something to happen, if you want something to happen, if you're planning for something to happen, if you're striving for something to happen, you're not relating to retreats in a wholesome way. You have to retreat from all of those unskillful ways of reacting to phenomena. You've made such wonderful karma that you've got to the point of being on retreat and having nothing to do, being in your hut all the time. What are you doing with that? How are you regarding it? How are you relating to it? You may have the most wonderful opportunity, but that's just the object. It's how we regard it, how we relate to it. That's the most important thing. So you can really screw up a retreat very easily. And you can really just make such a wonderful, peaceful time of working in the kitchen, if you know how to regard that well. To regard that as just giving for the sake of giving. Of just being at peace with whatever comes up. Not adding to the problems. As you all know, I've just come back from Singapore. Been teaching a retreat. The last couple of days it got more busy than I would have expected, simply because at the last question and answer time on, Monday evening. The retreat finished on Tuesday afternoon. On Monday evening that people had all these questions and spent from 7 p.m. till 10 p.m. answering those questions in the public forum. It was very busy. And the following day, which was Tuesday, yesterday, they're giving a talk in the morning at the retreat, and then a concluding talk in the afternoon, and then another public talk in the evening. So many talks there. But I know just how to deal with that. It's not what I have to do is a problem. It's what I think about that, how I regard that, my relationship to my duties as a teacher. That's the point, and that's where I put my focus. And that's where I do my work. My work of being at peace with this. My work of allowing this to be when I can't really do much about it. It's not sometimes what I plan, but I leave it alone. I make my peace with it. I don't have expectations or ill will towards these things. Because if I had ill will to what I had to do, it's an unwholesome way of relating to the known. If I had expectations and desire of what I want to get out of teaching or giving a public talk, I'm relating unskillfully to that object. I have to always relate properly to the things which I have to do, as I have to relate properly to the tiredness which is sometimes in my body. Just leave it alone. Make my peace with it. Allow myself to be tired without having ill will or wanting it to be different. I give up. I let go. I am content. And with that right relationship to what I have to do, you always have very, very deep meditation in the most unexpected of times. I mentioned sometimes before that in my life as an abbot of this monastery, sometimes I have to work so hard to the point that you come back here one evening and you've just been working all day, just so tired, exhausted, according to the standards of the world. I just go back into my room, look at that exhaustion, and relate to it properly. It's fascinating just how much truth is in the saying that the mind is a chief, is the forerunner of all things. It's so powerful, because you can abolish that tiredness just in a moment. You can just send it to oblivion, just with the right attitude of being at peace with these things. You're creating this powerful good karma, which completely overcomes the past vipaka and replaces it with new vipaka. Because you're doing good karma, powerful karma, with letting go, with renunciation, doing the things which the Buddha asked one to do. This is powerful stuff. No matter how much tiredness is there, it just goes. No matter how much pain there is there in the body, where you regard the pain, that's the problem. We all have pain. That's the nature of a body. That's the nature of life. Old age, sickness and death. Never getting what you want, separated from what you like, being with what you don't like. It's the nature of phenomena. It's how we regard that. That's where we can make the difference between being an Aryan and being a Puthujjana. Being a noble one, or just being an ordinary person like the common person in the street.